Hello everyone, and welcome to another Jurassic Park video. Recently, our good friend Clayton Fioriti gave me a shout out in his video how InGen recaptured Rexy for Jurassic World, which was very nice of him. That video got me thinking back to an old project of mine. A while back, I wanted to do a video as to how Rexy was captured in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but I couldn't figure out how to go about it because it's surprisingly a complicated subject. There are just so many questions, it just doesn't seem to make sense. For example, how did the mercenaries manage to capture Rexy so quickly? It seemed as though Rexy was caught up in the volcanic ash, but of course, there she was, alive and well. So how was Rexy captured in Fallen Kingdom? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. Please keep in mind that this video is not me declaring it as fact. This video is me talking about what could have happened. I'll use the movies and other research sources as a basis for my opinion, but at the end of the day, it's still just my opinion. So here we go. To get a thorough understanding as to what could have happened, I think it may help if I do a play-by-play analysis of the scene in question. Okay, so here we see Rexy roaring over the Carnotaurus as Owen watches. Then the volcano quakes again and she walks away. Owen begins to run, but here's where things get confusing. In the next few shots, Rexy is nowhere to be seen. Where did she go? She couldn't have ran that far already. Even if you look at this wide shot, you can see all kinds of dinosaurs. Again, Rexy is nowhere to be seen. Some dinosaurs start falling off the cliff and into the ocean along with the gyrosphere. When the gyrosphere starts floating to the surface, you can see different dinosaurs trying to swim, like a Gallimimus and a Sinoceratops. So where did Rexy go? Well, I think I might have an answer. You'll need to take a good look here because if you don't, you'll miss it. It's that quick. During the shot of the Sinoceratops struggling to swim, it pans to Franklin, who says, "We're alive!" After he says this, there's one dinosaur in the background that appears to be swimming as well. It's a very quick shot, so there's not a lot of time to see it. So I'll repeat this part in slow motion for you. Based on how the dinosaur is turning its body, I believe that the dinosaur is bipedal, and that dinosaur could very well be Rexy. Look closely. It has a large tail and seems to have 2 legs. Now what other dinosaur on Isla Nublar has a tail that big and 2 legs to boot? It has to be Rexy. Now I want to quickly address another shot of another dinosaur swimming just behind Owen. It's certainly bipedal and has a fairly decent sized tail, but I believe that that's another Carnotaurus, because if you look closely at the wide shot again, you can see a Carnotaurus running. So just like the Carnotaurus, it was likely that Rexy ran towards the cliff and jumped into the ocean. Now some of you might be thinking, that's wrong, T-Rexes can't swim. Well, hold on a sec. Let's take a look at another source of information. If we look back, Clayton Fioriti also made a video about why the river raft scene was cut from the first Jurassic Park movie. This particular scene, based on the Jurassic Park novel, would involve a swimming T-Rex. Now one could argue that since a T-Rex never swam in the movies, that the idea of a swimming T-Rex is not canon, but still, the creative minds behind the Jurassic Park books and movies came to this idea of a swimming T-Rex, and were about to put it in the movie. Other dinosaurs managed to swim, so why not Rexy? During the scene where Owen and Claire try to take Rexy's blood, Rexy appears to be wet in some shots, as though she was in the water. Anyway, back to the scene. Claire and Franklin are trying to break out of the gyrosphere as water flows in, and Owen's trying to help. So while all this is happening, Rexy's probably still swimming away towards a different shore. Keep in mind that Rexy is a very strong dinosaur, and is likely a very strong swimmer as a result. So she could have been way ahead of everyone else by this point. So to summarize so far, Rexy ran away, jumped into the ocean, and immediately swam away to shore, all while the characters were struggling and doing their own thing. Rexy eventually makes it to shore long before the characters do. Okay, back to the scene. Eventually, Owen, Claire, and Franklin manage to swim to shore. Shortly after, they see a helicopter in the distance carrying Rexy. Here's our first of many questions that need answering. How did the mercenaries capture Rexy so quickly during all the chaos? Well, it seems as though a fair amount of time has passed from the time the characters escaped the gyrosphere to when they finally reached the shore. Rexy could have resurfaced and explored a different shore while the characters were still swimming. As to how she was captured so quickly, my guess is that the mercenaries had a helicopter stationed nearby from when they were deploying earlier in the movie, and they just so happened to encounter Rexy as they were evacuating. They may have seen her coming from a distance and then prepared to capture her, maybe even lure her into a trap. But this just brings about more questions. Did the mercenaries just so happen to have the cage already set up in front of their helicopter when they coincidentally saw Rexy coming? Also, later on in the movie, Owen says that Rexy is tranked. If Rexy was tranked, How was she still moving around in the sky before she was put on the ship? You may be thinking that the tranquilizers just haven't kicked in yet. Okay, so that brings me to yet another question. If that was the case, how did the mercenaries manage to put Rexy in the cage and onto a chopper before the tranquilizers took effect? Rexy isn't exactly a pushover. I'm sure you can see now why this subject is a lot more complicated than one might think. And unfortunately, I don't have answers to those questions. And that's one of the unfortunate flaws with this movie. There are some plot holes that don't seem to make any sense. Even die-hard fans such as myself seem to have difficulty making sense of it all. I tried looking at behind-the-scenes concept art to maybe find an answer, but I just couldn't find anything. So rather than rack my brain and drive myself crazy trying to figure this all out, I'm just going to take a step back, suspend my disbelief, and just take it for what it is. How do you think Rexy was captured in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? I'd really love to hear your discussions on this one, so talk about it in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next video.